What's up, y'all? Welcome back.
What's up, y'all? Today we've got some NFL, some draft coverage. We'll get into UFC, go over 327, Burns versus Mallet. Let's get into it.
Let's go ahead and start her off with some trivia. All right, here's the first question. Which team won the very first Super Bowl played after the 1966 season? Green Bay Packers, Cowboys, Chiefs, or Jets?
I'm gonna go with the Packers.
Packers is correct. They won the first inaugural Super Bowl Lombardi Trophy, hence the name.
Nice.
All right, next question. Which player holds the NFL record for most career passing touchdowns? Regular season only. We have Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, and Brett Favre.
This single season or all
Man,
time?
all time. Tom Brady. That's what I'm
Yeah,
thinking.
I'm gonna go with Tom Brady.
Let's see. Tom Brady. Which franchise has appeared in the most Super Bowls? 49ers, Cowboys, Steelers, Patriots. This is a tricky one, man. They've all been on great runs. I want to say the Patriots, though.
I'm gonna go with
Like the better half of. You
the
going with
Steelers.
Steelers? Let's see. It is the Patriots. Let's go.
Damn.
I wish it said how many they appeared in, but it does
Yeah.
not. But nearly 2 decades worth of playoff appearances. Makes sense. Which of these players is the only primarily defensive player to have ever won the NFL MVP award? Lawrence Taylor, J.J. Watt, Reggie White, or Ray Lewis? Man, a couple of these guys are old school. Not J.J. Is it Ray?
MVP?
MVP. Can't be Ray.
Not gonna lie, I was gonna say JJ Watt till you said no.
I wish he did, but he did not. So that leaves us
Nah.
Lawrence Taylor and Reggie White. And Ray, if you think it's Ray.
I guess I'll go Reggie White.
Let's see. I'll go with the other one, Lawrence Taylor. It is Lawrence Taylor. Holy crap. 1986 season with the Giants. I'm better at this than I thought. This one looks tough. Spoke too soon. Which team completed the NFL's only perfect season, winning the Super Bowl after going undefeated in both the regular season and playoffs? 1998 Minnesota Vikings, 1972 Miami Dolphins, 2007 New England Patriots, 1985 Chicago Bears. See, I know New England won. They went undefeated, but I don't know what year. But they lost in the divisional round or in the Super Bowl to break the
They lost
complete
in the Super Bowl
undefeated
to the
season.
Giants.
That's right. That was that season, wasn't it?
hmm
So
It's
it's
either
not the
the
Patriots.
It's either the Dolphins and they had an undefeated season, and I don't know if they won the Super Bowl. And then if it's not them, then it's the what was the other option? I'm sorry.
Minnesota Vikings in 1998 and
Yeah,
1985 Chicago Bears. It's not the Vikings in 98
so it's
because
the
the
Bears or the
Rams won that
Dolphins.
one. Yeah. I got to go with the Dolphins.
Yeah, let's do the Dolphins.
Hey, it is the Dolphins.
Yeah,
Only team to complete a perfect season, including both the regular and playoffs, finishing with a Super Bowl victory. Doesn't say who they played. Next question. Which city's NFL team has the longest active championship drought? No NFL titles, including pre Super Bowl, for that franchise. Detroit, Buffalo, Arizona, Cleveland. Oh, man. I'm thinking Cleveland or Arizona? I don't know, man. This one's tough. Detroit, Buffalo, Arizona, Cleveland. I wish I was more knowledgeable and could just throw out names and like, oh yeah, this guy and so. This was quarterback by blah blah blah. But man, I'm not that deep.
I'm gonna go with Cleveland.
I'm going with Cleveland too. Dang, it's Arizona.
And
They have not won an NFL championship since 1947. I didn't even know they were around since then. Next question. Hopefully we'll get this one, but it looks tricky. Which quarterback famously, you already lost me, guaranteed a victory before his team's upset win in Super Bowl III? Joe Namath, Roger Staubach, Johnny Unitas, Terry Bradshaw. I'm thinking Joe
say
Namath
the
with
names
the
again.
Jets. Joe Namath, Roger Staubach, Johnny Unitas, and Terry Bradshaw. I think
I'll
it's
go with
Joe
Johnny
Namath with the
Unitas.
Jets.
I'm
Johnny
going
Unitas.
Unitas.
Let's see. It is Joe Namath. Hey, let's go with the
Dang,
Jets.
it's nice.
Boldly guaranteed that his underdog team would beat the favored champion Colts. Huh. Interesting. That had to be before, I guess, realignments and stuff because they're in the same conference now. Which franchise is the only one to win 4 Super Bowls in a 6 season span without losing any Super Bowls during that run? New England Patriots in the 2000s, Pittsburgh Steelers in the 70s, 49ers in the 80s and 90s, Cowboys in the 90s. It's got it. Is it the Steelers? Cowboys only won 3 in that decade, right? In the 90s.
I'm gonna go with the 49ers.
49ers and Steelers. Let's see. It's the Steelers
Nice.
under head coach Chuck Noll. Never heard of him. 70s was the Steelers dynasty. Which of these cities lost its NFL team to relocation in the mid 1990s, but later received a new franchise with the same name? Oakland, Cleveland, St. Louis, and Houston in the 90s. Got to be the Texans because the Oilers relocated to Tennessee in the late 90s, but Houston didn't start until 2001. So maybe it's not them. St. Louis, Oakland?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah. Which of these cities lost its NFL team to relocation in the mid 90s, but later received a new franchise with the same name? So it is not Houston.
Oakland
Hmm.
Raiders.
I'm gonna go with the Rams, St. Louis Rams at that time. Let's see, Oakland. It is Cleveland. Cleveland. The original franchise moved, but the Browns' identity, including records and branding, remained in Cleveland. A new team was then formed under that same identity. Sounds like identity fraud. Did not know that. Last
Yeah, I
question.
had no idea about it. That's crazy.
Just thought they were always the Browns with the same ownership and everything. Last question. Oof. Which player was the first to rush for over 2,000 yards in a single NFL regular season? O.J. Simpson, Terrell Davis, Eric Dickerson, Barry Sanders. So who was the first to rush for 2,000?
OJ Simpson.
Man, I think O.J. I'll go with Dickerson. Let's see. O.J. He accomplished this in 1973 while playing for the Buffalo Bills. He did it in a 14-game schedule. Holy crap.
Yeah, that dude was a beast. OJ Simpson, friend of the show.
Whoa, you try to get us killed, man? All right, that's going to do us for trivia. Quite literally, not metaphorically, but we're moving on. All right, so let's do a little this day in the NFL history. Little fun fact on this day, April 21st, 2001, The Atlanta Falcons selected with the number 1 overall pick, Michael Vick out of Virginia Tech. That's crazy. I forgot he played for Virginia Tech.
Didn't those college highlights are pretty crazy.
I always remembered him playing with the Eagles, and then I have to remember, well, he played like 5 or 6 seasons with Falcons before that. I forgot that they had drafted him.
Yeah. That's where he was playing his best in a couple of those seasons when he was just running around on the field, you know. It's crazy.
He was ahead of his time. All right, ready to move on to our top prospects?
Yeah, man, let's do it. Let's go ahead and I guess we can bounce back and forth. You want to start it off?
Yeah, I'll go first. The first of my top 3 prospects is going to be Sonny Styles, linebacker, Ohio State. He began his college career at the safety position, then he quickly transitioned to linebacker, and he just looks like a natural there. He's a head hunter, thud snapper, just a high impact player. Anywhere on the field, he's very versatile, I would say. They used him quite a bit in different levels of that defense, and he played outstanding in every phase of that defense. He is, man, it's between him and another guy that are just freaking studs in this draft and probably the best athlete in this draft class. My player comp for him, it would be Fred Warner and Nick Eamon-Wari. He was a rookie last year, safety, kind of similar role. Nick Eamon-Wari played for the Seahawks last year. Outstanding rookie. Safety, but they used him in a hybrid way. They used him a lot as you would a linebacker. So if those two were cloned and combined cloned somehow, that's how I would advertise Sonny Styles. He's a hell of an athlete, man.
I'm definitely hoping him or this next player I'm about to talk about ends up with the Cowboys here. So that's definitely a player we're pretty excited about. But I'll go ahead and go with mine. I have Caleb Downs out of Ohio State. He's versatile, productive back, 40 plus starts, elite football IQ. They were talking, he's definitely going to go in the top 10. But once you get into the needs of some of these teams and the players that will be available to them, it's looking like he'll possibly fall. Obviously, the Giants made a move that could possibly affect that, but we'll find out here soon. I mean, his run defense is great, downhill aggression is great, versatility, and again, the leadership communication. And this is a guy people really expect to be able to come in, plug and play, and make a difference in his first year in the NFL. So that's my top prospect that I have on my board. That pretty much if any team gets him, they're going to be happy with what they get. So
You said it. He's a plug and play player, not only on the field, but in the locker room as well. He's a leader of men, and he's going to do wonders for any locker room he gets drafted into. It's a great one. My next one is Emmanuel Pregnon. He is not even projected to go in the first round, but I'm just freaking bullish on this guy. He's a freak of an athlete, a freak of nature. He's very balanced in his run and pass blocking, in his grading. He allowed 0 sacks, only 1 QB hit, and gosh, like close to 800 or 900 offensive snaps. He's an immediate plug and play starter for any team that he goes to. He's an offensive guard. So offensive guards aren't seen as valuable as offensive tackles, but offensive guards, you got a good one. They will help solidify that offensive line. And they're kind of versatile. They can play left, they can play right. You can even try to do center, help get them to work in on center as well. And this could be a guy that could very well do that. He's he is like a Bigfoot man. He's 6'6", almost 350 pounds. The only knock that he has coming into this draft is his age. He's 25, so he's a few years older than most of these other prospects. So that I would say that's his biggest knock. So he'll be like a one contract player. But for the amount of time that you have him, he is going to do wonders for your offense.
yeah, you talk about him not being in the first round. He's definitely not someone that I've heard too much about or have had done a lot of homework on myself. But from what you're telling me right now, he sounds like a really great player. You talk about the age being the issue. I mean, the position he plays, they can most likely play later until they're into their 30s, so I don't think that's too much of a downside. So that's not a bad pick at all. I'm gonna go with Mansour Delane. This one isn't a big surprise. You've heard about him plenty of times. They're talking about him a lot. Going early in this first round. 6 foot, 187 to 90 pounds. He's polished, instinctive cover, press man skills. He has run support, toughness, reads concepts well. This dude is just like a natural DB. I don't know any other way to put it. He's the best cornerback, defensive back in this draft, and like Caleb Downs, any team that he lands on, they're going to get production out of him. So that's who I'm going with.
If he is available at pick 12, still by some miracle, should the Cowboys draft him?
It depends. Is Caleb Downs available?
Caleb Downs is not available.
Yeah, we'll take him. At this point, for the Cowboys, you have so many spots to fill on the defense. You just need to take the best player available for the defense. And if it's looking like that's Mansour Delane, then definitely pull the trigger on that.
And he has lockdown capabilities. Definitely help out Bland on that other side.
100%. Yeah.
All right, my last top prospect in this draft is going to be Caden McDonald, defensive tackle out of Ohio State. The more I look at this guy, the more I like him. He's a talented run defender. He's got natural leverage. He loves rattling his pads. He's quick to locate ball carriers, quick to sniff out the play fakes and all that stuff. But more importantly, like I said earlier, he's a run stopper. And for defensive tackles, nose tackles, that interior defensive line, you want somebody that is going to be able to stop the run. Because if you can't stop the run, that offense is just going to go all over you. They're going to do whatever they want. Their offense is going to open up, and it's just going to create problems on all levels of that defense. So when you can get a natural, true-born, all-talented run stopper like Cade McDonald is, he's going to be a great piece for any defense that he gets drafted to. I'm hoping he goes to the Texans. I know I've been making all these other picks and all this other stuff. When I first heard his name pop up related to the Texans, I was like, hey, are you crazy, man? We need offensive line. I can't tell you how many times I've seen CJ Stroud on his butt. But the more I think about Caden McDonald and what he is and what he does and what he can bring to your defense, the more I like him and just how well he would fit with Orion's, man. Man, that gets me excited if we are able to draft him.
Yeah, that definitely would be a good pick for the Texans. My last player is going to be Carnell Tate. He's got vacuum hands, contested catch monster, extremely low drop rate, elite body control. He's going to be that guy who's going to be able to get you plenty of those 50-50 balls. Great route running, great separation. He's another guy. That's pretty much the theme of what I went with, is the guys that are going to be able to come in, plug and play, and make instant production, make a difference on their team. So that's who I've got there at number 3.
I'm hoping the best for him, man. Hopefully he's put in the right situation in the right organization. Just something about Carnell for me is just a little leery. I don't know if it has to do with the fact that he's the most pro-ready receiver, because the last time a receiver out of Ohio State was the most pro-ready and he had all this hype going into the NFL draft was Marvin Harrison Jr., and we know how that has turned out in Arizona. So hopefully Carnell Tate's career, particularly his rookie season, is the complete opposite of what we saw in Arizona, because I mean that solidify everything that we have thought and researched the past 4 or 5 months now, going on a year.
Like you said, where they end up is going to have a really huge bearing on what they're going to be able to produce and put out there on the field. Even with Marvin Harrison, he had plenty of times where he could have made plays happen and stuff like that, but also you could make the same argument he didn't have the best quarterback, the best situation going for him. So definitely with Carnell Tate, just like a lot of these guys are going to want to end up in favorable situations, but at the same time, the higher you get picked, the more money you get. So I know they're looking at that too. So I guess we'll see here in a short amount of time.
Yeah, speaking of the Cardinals, apparently they are in a QB dilemma, QB situation right now. What do you know about that?
Well, apparently we Brissett sitting out, looking for an extension on his contract, some more money. They've got Gardner Minshew on the roster, and then they've got the number 3 pick in this draft. How are you thinking the Cardinals are going to play that situation, and what do you think Jacoby Brissett is going to be able to get out of this?
I think they're going to play it in the most Cardinals way. They're going to do the bare minimum, be very mid, and do enough just to get by, keep their fans with a little bit of hope, but ultimately it won't make much of a difference, no matter what way you spin it. Ultimately, I think they're going to get a deal done with Jacoby Brissett. It's going to be, I'm thinking, a 1 year deal. He'll probably get something like Malik Willis did, around that $30 million, I'd say, a year annually. The most I would give him would be a 2 year deal, $60 million. But at that same time, there's a lot of good QBs coming into the draft next year. That's a really stacked class. Arch Manning, Dante Moore, Lenoris Sellers. I'm sorry, I don't remember his first name, but Sellers from South Carolina. A couple other guys as well. So it's a deep class. It would probably behoove them to just sign a 1 year deal with Jacoby Brissett. It's not like they're going to have to break the bank with him. I'm sure he knows his situation and where he's standing among other NFL quarterbacks in his stage at this stage of his career. Ultimately, you have two quarterbacks on your roster. Yes, Gardner Minshew is recovering from an ACL tear that he had towards the end of last season. So it would be in their best interest. Go ahead and partake in Jacoby Brissett's shindig that he's got going on. And as you're doing that, build around the future quarterback that you plan to have potentially next year, because I don't see them being much better than they were this year. So they'll still have a good opportunity to get a good quarterback next year. And in the meantime, this draft, get those building pieces, get those core pieces that you'll have for the future.
Yeah, I'm right there on the same page with you. In other news, Texans made a huge move, signed Will Anderson or extended him. What are your thoughts and what are the details on that contract?
He is worth every single penny of that 3 year, $150 million deal with the Texans. And we had just picked up his 5th year option a few weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, I think. And now we're already signed him to an extension for 3 more years. So we have him for essentially 5 more league years until, what, 2031. So he's locked down. He's going to be a major piece, the core piece of our team going forward. And he's worth every single penny, just what he brings in with his play. He's an outstanding player. He's a freak of an athlete. We traded up back in the draft in 2023 to select him number 3 overall right after we selected CJ Stroud. So he's been worth every single penny. He's just been outstanding, and he is going to continue to do his thing. I'm so excited. I'm glad we extended him. We set a new market for the defensive edge, the defensive end position at $50 million a year. So I think that was a smart move to go ahead and do it now. He already picked up his 5th year option, so he has 2 more years on his rookie contract. Go ahead, get ahead of it. Yes, you will be paying $10-15 million more than any other edge going on right now, maybe outside of Myles Garrett. I think he's around 40, but you're getting ahead of it while you can. And $50 million for his level of play is outstanding, man. He's worth every single penny. I'm super excited to keep him around. He wants to retire here. He wants to have his whole career here in Houston. And it's just the right thing to do. When you love your players and your players love you and your organization and your fan base and your city, you've said it many times in this podcast. There's certain organizations that know how to do it right, and they are winning, and they just continue with that winning pedigree and with the moves that they make.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. I think kind of like you were alluding to there, it sets a standard for the other players that come in and look at um, Will Anderson and say, hey, look, he came in here and produced and he got rewarded for it. He's loyal to the organization and they're going to do the same in return for the players. So, the player in turn is going to do deals and stuff and help out the organization, and the organization's going to keep extending these guys. So, I think it was the right move for them. He's going to be instrumental not just for right now, but also in the future, as well as leading and setting the standard and culture for their other teammates, regardless of who's coaching there. So I think players like that just change the dynamic of the organization. If that makes sense.
Yes. And that's just some good news that lightens the blow of CJ's roller coaster NFL career. So Hopefully his teammate CJ can figure it out this year, and we can sign him out to a long extension as well.
Well, in other news, we had a big situation go on. Dexter Lawrence traded from the New York Giants to the Cincinnati Bengals. You want to tell us the details of that and what are your thoughts?
Yeah, the Giants are sending Dexter Lawrence straight up for the 10th overall pick in this year's draft to the Cincinnati Bengals, which is, you think about the Bengals, they're in quite the predicament right now. They might be coming towards the end of Joe Burrow's tenure there. They are, I'm guessing, in this move shows me they're in a win now mentality, which is crazy because they did not have a winning season last year. And just that defense is in shambles. He's not, they weren't one player away from contending again. It's going to take a lot more than one player, especially Dexter Lawrence. Don't get me wrong, he was an all pro. The past couple of years have been down years for him, so he's not that missing piece that you need where you can plug and play and your defense is playoff caliber again. It's not how it works, and I think it was the Bengals got hoodwinkled. They got spun, and the Giants came out on top with this one. I don't know how the Giants pulled this one off. Now they have two top 10 picks, and there's a lot of talent in that first 10 pick range. They can get two defensive players. They get two star defensive players. They could get an offensive star and a defensive star. There's a lot of avenues they can go. The Giants, A plus. The Bengals, I don't know what the heck they were thinking, man.
Yeah, it was a steal of a deal for the Giants. I mean, you can't get away better than that for Dexter Lawrence, 28 years old, and now they've got 2 picks here in the first. It was just a beautiful use of resources for the Giants, and that's something that does not get said a lot at all. So it's definitely a good look for them at this point. So I think we'll see here in the near future that it's going to pay off.
Time. John Harbaugh's coming into town and he's meaning business.
Yes, sir. All right. Anything else in NFL? Are you ready to get into some UFC?
Let's go USC. I'm good.
We're going to go ahead and recap UFC 327, guys. We had a little bit of delay with some technical difficulties, but we're right back at it. So we had Prohaska versus Carlos Solberg. This was a crazy fight, to say the least. It did not end up like anyone was expecting. It started off kind of that way. I think Yuri Prohaska was moving great in there, looking like his old self. Analyzing, kind of picking at his opponent. Carlos Solberg was doing great in the front end of this fight as well, but ultimately we all saw what happened. He tore his ACL. We saw the pop, and then we saw Yuri kind of stall. Completely change how he was approaching the rest of that fight. From the point that that happened. There's a lot of argument going back and forth, whether he was showing mercy to him or not, is pretty much irrelevant to me. I mean, he completely changed the way he was fighting. That definitely had an effect on the fight. The fact that Carlos Solberg was immobile, couldn't move, also had an effect on the fight. So whether it discounts Carlos Olberg's win or anything like that, I think is ridiculous. He completely knocked out Yuri Prohaska. I mean, who's a legend, who's championship caliber, so he should get all the benefits of being a champion and all of that. But I think at the same time, it can be true that Yuri Prohaska was not 100% there, was not fighting as his true self. And if he's put in that situation again, that there's not a different outcome. So I think it's just one of those things, Um, both things can be true at the same time. So I'm really excited to see if Carlos Olberg can string together a long title reign, which I don't think is likely. I'm also excited to see Yuri Prohaska get back in there. Um, Really, the main thing you can take from this, not only that Carlos Olberg is that guy and he's capable of those moments. I think the biggest thing that you take away from this is that Alex Pereira did, in fact, curse Yuri Prohaska. The curse is real, and what Yuri was talking about was not just him imagining it, but there's some serious voodoo going on here behind the scenes.
It's got to be, man. He looked, as soon as we all knew what happened to Oberg, there was just like a switch, and Yuri just went like under a trance, like in a curse. because I'm thinking, man, how much work and effort and blood, sweat, and tears did you have to put into this to get to this point where you are right now in a title fight against Olberg? You're like a shark in a water, man. You gotta go and get it and go and finish it. No feeling sorry for this other fighter. They're your enemy at that point of stage in the octagon. So it sucks. It's like a lesson for all of us, on a lesson that Yuri had to learn, that when you have your chance, you just need to take it. It's there's really no honor or anything like that in a fight like that, if that makes sense. Like you got to take your punches, you got to take your chance to win a title when you can. You weren't being unhonorable if you went ahead and finished him. So Yuri said, this is a tough lesson for me to learn, and yeah, it's tough, man. You should have finished him when you had the chance. On the flip side of that, Olberg going out the way he did with a knockout to Yuri with one leg and with a torn ACL, that is legendary. It sucks that he won the fight this way, both for Yuri's perspective and also with the fact that we don't know when we're going to see Olberg back again and how healthy he will be when he is back. So that sets a whole nother dynamic to this weight division. But ultimately, it was sad the way that it ended and the way that it played out. I'd say disappointing, but it's more so sad.
Um, between the two losses to Alex Pereira, the loss here, and then the way he lost the title the first time due to an injury is just unfortunate for Yuri. I mean, for someone who has the potential and all the talent in the world to become one of the greats in the sport, obviously he's still always going to be a legend and one of those guys, and he's always going to be a champion. But man, it just feels like this one, like there was just so much more left on the table, and ultimately it's not over for him. He can still bounce back and do something special here. So we'll be excited to see him get back in there. Next biggest fight on the card was Paulo Costa versus Azamat Mirzakhanov. Azamat looked insane in there in the first couple rounds. He looked insanely good when he got in tight, and just the way he slips those punches and then sneaks his own in inside and around the guard looked amazing. But Paulo Costa in the end, man, just with an amazing head kick there to end it all, was great to see. And then next, really the talk of the night, besides the ACL, Josh Hokett versus Curtis Blades in one of the best heavyweight MMA fights of all time. And we've had some insane ones. To be able to say that is crazy, an achievement in itself. He is a future Hall of Famer at this point, just for this fight that's going to go in the Hall of Fame one day. So, insane fight. Josh Hokett, he talked a lot of shit and he showed he was able to back all of it up and then some. And then Curtis Blades just showed something as well that we've never seen from him before. It takes two to tango, and he did not disappoint at all. These boys talked a lot of shit on the front end and then they just put it all out for the world to see. So, I mean, kudos to both of them. They deserve all the accolades they're going to get from this.
I would say it's not common when fighters talk a lot of crap and are able to back it up. Both fighters backing up their own shit talking and going pound for pound, going ham on each other from the first bell all the way to the last bell. You said it. This was a hell of a fight. It was my favorite fight of the night. It was my favorite fight in the UFC in a long time. I know I've said in a long time. I've been regularly watching UFC for like 7 months now, so I'm not going to pretend I've been a UFC fan for years now, but of the fights that I have seen, this has been the best fight. And it's crazy to say because this Josh Hokett guy coming up from nowhere had a really good fight a few months ago against someone, and then against Curtis Blades, he just, man, disrespectful, but he owned it. He was taking punches, but he was also giving those punches. He wasn't backing down. Man, he could be the next superstar, and he's got the mouth for it, that's for sure. But yeah, it was a heck of a fight. It was an awesome fight. There wasn't a second in that fight where I wasn't going, "Oh, oh, oh." So, yeah, when I'm able to do that, it's a great fight.
I completely agree. I definitely think he needs to brush up on the mic skills. I mean, a lot of people love it. I mean, I just can't get over the fact that half of it doesn't make sense at all. Like, at least make it make sense, and then I'm with it. Like, I completely can roll with it, but the fact that some of it just doesn't make sense at all, just like kind of gets on my nerves. But ultimately, you keep fighting like that. I don't care what you say. You could say some crazy stuff like what Sean Strickland's saying, and it's like, yeah, and then I just want to see you fight. So, kudos to him. Now we've got
Yeah.
this past weekend we had Gilbert Burns versus Mike Mallet. Mike Mallet was able to come out with impressive KO victory. Gilbert Burns, obviously, he was on a bit of a downside, so to see him lose to a high caliber prospect was definitely tough to see. As is every single loss when you have these legends like this, people where you really want to be on their side, and it just seems like this is pretty much it. We've seen the best of their career, and it's behind us at this point. So that one was definitely a tough one. But looking forward to next week. We've got April 25th UFC Fight Night, Sterling versus the Law, Aljamain Sterling. Once most hated in the UFC, now one of the legends, I would say. He's older. He looked insanely jacked in his last photos and his ads for Toyo Tires. Yusuf Zalal is a pretty great prospect coming up. 18 5-1, so looking forward to see what he can do with his toughest competition to date versus Aljamain Sterling, from former champion. Are you familiar with any of these fighters?
I'm not. Sterling, maybe. Sterling's not a common name and it's kind of catchy and poppy. So I would like to say yes, but no, I'm going to be safe and say no. But yeah,
Yeah,
you're
looking down the
hyping it up.
card,
I'm excited.
yeah, it'll be a good one. Looking down the card, we got Norma Dumont, who's definitely a really exciting fighter as far as the women MMA goes. So she's 13-2. She's definitely on the come up versus Jocelyn Edwards, 17-6. The next fight, you've got Alexander Hernandez versus Rafa Garcia, and to follow that is Davy Grant versus Adrian Luna Martinetti, who I've never heard of. So that'll be a good one. April 25th.
Yeah, I'm excited. I know none of these
All right.
fighters, but I will go in with some optimism.
Sounds good. Well, we'll be reviewing that next week. Let's go ahead and get into our triumphant moment. You want to start it off, or you want me to do it?
Triumphant moments. I'm going to start her off with my triumphant moment from the past week and a half, 2 weeks, is going to have to be we're pivoting to the MLB in my decision. We are going with Josh Young. This guy was one of the saviors of our season in 2023, led us to the promised land, winning the World Series pennant. He was lights out, an all-star that year. Since then, it has been a complete disappointment with his continued injuries and inconsistency at the plate. The only thing that has saved him the past couple of years has been his outstanding defensive play, third base. But the last 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, he started out the season. He has the last 2 years, very inconsistent, not doing anything at all whatsoever on the offensive side. In batting, he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. But the last 10 games, now it's been the last 12 games, he has averaged a 364. 12 hits, 1 home run, 4 RBIs, 5 runs. Last week he went 3 for 5. He had 3 doubles in a game. It's been a minute since I've seen someone go 3 doubles in a game, single game, so that was great to see. It's great to see that his batting average is over 200, let alone 300. He's one of our best batters right now in the lineup. I'm super happy that he is finally finding the ball now and finally seeing the ball and making contact, and he's having some quality at bats now. His defense is still outstanding, and when you add on his consistency that he has had recently at the plate, he can get back to his all-star level, and we're going to need his all-star level if we want to make a playoff appearance again this year. So I'm super excited for his turnaround. Very triumphant to me with the fact that a lot of these sports, it's more mental than it is physical. And when you have all the injuries that Josh Young has had the past couple of years, but not only those past couple of years, but just throughout his MLB career. And to go through those injuries, just when you're getting hot, you get hurt again. And then add that to the inconsistency that he had when he was playing throughout those injuries to now where he's fully healthy. His defense is there. His offense is clicking. He's seeing the ball. He's got this turnaround to him, lighting a spark in our offense. It's a great moment to be a Josh Young fan.
Yeah, man, I agree. Hopefully, it rubs off on the rest of the team. It's always good to see them moving in the correct direction. You know, ever since they won the World Series, it just seems like they can't get the bats to work at all. So, like I said, hopefully it rubs off. If you haven't noticed yet, this is pretty much the only team we're gonna cover in MLB. So if you'd like to see that change, if you want to see us get some broader coverage, please let us know. But until that happens, for all 12 of you, um, we're just going to be covering the Rangers. All right. For my triumphant moment, I'm going with Carlos Solberg. Just we talked about it a little bit, what he was able to do under all the stress in the world, everybody watching on one leg, able to knock out Yuri Prohaska, one of the legends of the game, one of the scariest men in the UFC. If you had to pick one person you would not fight under any circumstances ever in the UFC. Definitely Derek Lewis, Yuri Prohaska, Islam Makhachev. The list is short, and he's definitely on that list. So, um, so crazy. What Carlos Solberg is able to do to put that guy away is not something I expected from him. I was talking definitely down, um, underestimating his ability. So definitely triumphant moment to say the least.
All right, that's going to wrap it up this week. Y'all go ahead and make sure to hit that subscribe button on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. See y'all later.
Yep. See y'all.